And finally, for this week's Ask Kochie, a question from photographer Carrie Reinberger, who's thinking about changing her business structure.
Hi Kochie, it's Carrie from Six Crows Fine Art Photography. So my business has reached a point where it might be beneficial for me to think about forming a company. What advice would you have around this, and what do you see as the pros and cons?
Carrie, every business goes through that, so you're not alone. Help me answer it. I'm bringing in Nicolas Stewart, partner at law firm Dowson Turco. Carrie's situation is just so typical, isn't it? Everyone starts as a sole trader, which is good. It's cheap, it's simple, but it comes with limitations and liabilities, doesn't it? What are the risks?
Look, it does. The risks are huge, really. You've got a family home, you might have personal assets. You don't want to mix those up with your business. You don't want to risk your life savings or your personal property just because you're taking on a risk as a business. So our commercial team tells people, think about creating a separate legal entity like a company.
Okay, so what are the benefits of a company structure?
I think the four main benefits are probably, one, you have a separate legal entity, so separate to yourself. Two, you can raise funds more easily. As a sole trader, you're going to the bank, seeking money through loans. As a company, you can offer shares, raise capital that way. The third thing is probably integrity or credibility. If you've got a company structure, you can represent to the world that you're a sophisticated operation and that you're trading for perpetuity. If you pass on or you don't want to run the business anymore, the business can keep on going. It can survive without you.
Yeah, it comes with a lot more reporting and accountability, doesn't it?
It does. You only want to think about incorporating when you're at a level where your revenue is probably going to meet the expenses of running a company. You have to register a company, you need a constitution, you're going to have to seek tax advice, speak to lawyers, and there's compliance fees. You have to file financial statements every year. There are reporting requirements and it is a costly structure, but at the same time, you can write off those expenses against profits.
Right, okay. So as a rule of thumb, how big do you need to be to think about changing from a sole trader? What are the costs of administration for a company?
I think it depends on the circumstances of the business and how you're operating, but a revenue, if your revenue's up at towards $100,000, $150,000, you might want to start thinking about incorporating. But there are also other structures you might want to consider as well, partnership structures, trusts. Yep. There are all kinds of structures, but it's best to speak to a professional.
Carrie, the big advice is here, if you're thinking of doing it, make sure you get good advice from a lawyer or an accountant. Nicolas, thanks for those tips. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.